Welcome to the Spring Listening Room podcast, where our team of experienced counselors explores emotional well being, self awareness, and the many experiences that shape a balanced life. Today, we're talking about a stage of life that many of us hope to reach and worry about, possibly in equal measure. The golden ages, seenagers, or vintage souls, as we often refer to our senior citizens. We will navigate through real stories, real experiences, and real hope as we deliberate over this fourth dimension of life. And we're so happy to have you with us. Joining me are Dr. Bharti Chawathe, founder of Spring Listening Room and mentor to over 35 counselors, and Anuradha Shah, a lifelong student of behavioral sciences, having played roles of group process facilitator and researcher for over 2 decades. And I'm Tehzeeb Doctor, a clinical psychologist and mindfulness coach. One thing I've often wondered about is how abruptly society seems to define aging. One day you're a regular adult, and then suddenly at 60 you become a senior citizen. It's almost as though a number is expected to change your identity overnight. Bharti, let's start with you. What do you think? Do you feel it just changes one day?
Actually, it doesn't change. It doesn't make any sense of like you are suddenly a 60 or a senior citizen. You don't feel so. But there is definitely a change which is happening in your body, in your system, and so all that integration is important about this stage. And many a times we are not prepared to become of that age, and that's what we have to keep looking at. How do we prepare ourselves for this age? But the age is beautiful, actually.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just thinking, just taking off from this, we've found, we've really found a way to put the body's aging, like to understand body's aging. We've gone to medicine, and there's a lot of medical input and intervention which helps us with that. But in terms of really what it means beyond just the body, and we'll talk about a lot of that. I think we'll talk about the body, we'll talk about the mind. But we really don't know. I just wanted to say that nobody teaches us how to age in the mind.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you
it is like, as you're saying, suddenly it's coming to my mind that we have, body checkup packages for senior citizens, for 60 plus. We don't have a dip test for when you're becoming 60. What is your mental state? What way are you emotionally handling this stage?
Yeah.
We don't have that. And that's very, very interesting.
In fact, I just spoke to somebody a couple of days ago, and this lady called me and she said, "Hey, I'm 67 years old and I'm having some issues with my body." Now, the doctor is handling that, right? The doctor is handling that, but I just feel like this can't be my life. So I really want to get into it and understand it. And when I heard her say that, it really sounded like there's something there. That there is still some zest, there is still some wanting to address this rather than just say this is my lot and I need to deal with it.
I think the identity change does happen to some degree, right? There is a change in identity in terms of, okay, I am aging, my body is slowing down perhaps, but at the same time, who am I? And how do I want to continue at this point? So what would you say do you find there's a big change in identity, or do you feel like people are holding on to certain aspects of how they want to be as they age?
Yeah, I think preparation of, old age preparation starts early, and if you don't have purpose or identity, or your identity is limited only to bringing up your children, or your identity is limited to a particular job that you're doing, which then goes, then that causes a lot of problem. So preparation for your aging process is, I think, a lifelong process, and somewhere people have deep identity with only taking care of the, like women mostly, and especially in that age era, very much kept their identity connected to children and their upbringing and household, and that has been a difficult thing for a lot of women. Men identifying only to the tasks and their roles in their offices, again has kept them limited in their purpose of life. And that has been a problem for this generation.
Yeah, because suddenly you reach a stage where, you know, like you said, you were going out to work perhaps, and then you come and, you know, retirement age in India is about 60 years old. You can choose in your private practices to continue, but basically after that it is a retirement stage. And at that point, when you feel you find yourself doing what exactly, and what exactly can you be doing? So that is also a question that a lot of people feel, because the sense of purpose goes.
I think there is a question that we keep answering. Like when you meet somebody for the first time, you're asked the question, who are you, of course, but how do you do, or what do you do? And what is the answer to that question? Right? All through life, you will define yourself through the work that you do, through the caregiving duties and responsibilities and relationships. But after a certain age, what do you do, right? And since there is no longer the role of protector, provider in whatever form, there is a whole big vacuum over there. And that's leading to a lot of depression, anxiety issues that we're also seeing at the clinic.
Yeah, and aging itself, I mean, I was looking at figures around the world, and WHO claims that by 2030, 1 in 6 people in the world will be aged 60 or over. And by 2060, there will be 2.5 billion people who are over the age of 60, which is basically meaning that there will be more 60-year-olds than 18-year-olds. So we'll go into a much older population worldwide. And we need to in some ways be ready for that. You know, these are world figures, but even in India by 2050, the 60 plus population is expected to be 347 million. And like you're saying, depression or not understanding where we are in parts of life is something that we will go through at that point. So we need to be prepared, I think, as well.
Right. This particular phase where Erik Erikson speaks about, it's integrity versus despair. Yeah. So at this place, either you look at your life and you say, hey, I have done a good job. Some mistakes happened, some losses are there, and these are my gains, and you say that overall I have lived well. So either a person is integrated as a senior citizen, or they reach into despair, bitterness of life, and you become a bitter old person saying that what is the use of life, nothing worked for me. There were a lot of people who took bad advantage of me and bad things have happened to me. So all that is a problem of this phase, and that's where I think as a family one can really look into it. Psychological space in which you grow and you become older is one of the most important things for this age.
I think also there are breakdown of structures. Earlier there were structures of a joint family system. There were the structures of, satsang community. We are going here, we are going there. Do you see that also, Bharti?
Yeah, I mean, yep. There is also we have become now a little different people. Like the earliest focus of being old means just doing satsang or just being, taking care of the grandchildren or taking care of, overall family is no longer there. And people who are now in their 60s and 70s have more time or more exposure to life, and they don't want to just sit and do satsang. They want to have a lot of introspective spaces.
Yeah.
They're questioning their life and they want to make it more useful and purposeful. So there is a gap here, and when we, make it little smaller by awareness, by introspection, by spending time in understanding your role in this world, it will bring change.
The role is changing though, because there's some there's a big percentage of older people, 60 plus, 70 plus, like you're saying, sometimes when you reach that stage, you don't feel like you're just that old. And you want to continue doing things that have interested you and not just be the person who needs to stay home and, be there to receive whoever comes on the doorbell, at the doorbell, or, grandchildren coming back, they need to be taken care of, or the younger generation wants to go out at night, and so these people, they also want to go out, they also want to watch a late night movie or go out to have a drink or whatever they want to do actually. So I feel that I have also faced the other side where clients, the young daughter-in-law is coming in and saying, I don't know, my mother-in-law is not being a mother-in-law, or they're not behaving like how they would normally behave at this stage and age. So how do we kind of work towards building that change with the younger generation?
Right. So that conflict is there because the roles are changing.
Yeah.
Their identity is very, very different. They are full of life. Even if they have aged, like for example, I don't feel my age.
Yeah.
So I'm 65, but I don't feel 65 at all. I feel I have a lot of energy and I can do so many things. So you don't really feel that age so easily. And we have been brought up, if it is like a metro city, you have a full life of your own, and you have needs. You want to socialize with your age people. You don't want to socialize with the younger generation who sometimes doesn't
it has to
feel
make sense. It doesn't make sense for them.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this language?
Because it seems like it comes to another kind of duty. When we were younger, we looked at older people as just older people. And if you really look back at times, I feel like an old aunt that I may have had, I had no clue how old she was. And there was just no growth. In maybe 10, 15 years that I would have seen her, she was walking the same, doing the same things. And I just, I looked at her so one-dimensionally. And now as we grow older, I can't imagine looking at myself so one-dimensionally when I reach 60.
From that side, we are already old. Okay, so I have nieces and nephews looking at me and saying, you're old, na? You're a senior citizen. I'm like, no, there's still some time.
Yeah.
There's some time, but that's a technicality.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So what does it mean to age is a wonderful question, I think.
Yeah.
What does it?
Yeah. So Bharti, can you give us some more insight on that? Because, you are very active, and I, of course, know you as, the counselor head here, and also as somebody who goes out there, is so active. You're, you work out more than me probably.
Yes.
And your routine.
5 days of the week.
Yeah, which is,
I like it and I enjoy every bit of it. Spend a lot of time with my age people. Because if I go with my nieces, nephews, the next generation, I find that they don't even recognize the songs that I know. Yeah, their music choices are so different, and I am affected by their music choices. But what I would say that if we have a less time to spend with each other of these two generations, but have a meaningful interactions with two different generations and have our own life for your own, then the aging becomes easier, I feel. But so many of my clients who are older than me, younger than me, facing a lot of issues, bodily issues, I find that to bring them into the actual reality of their own life story and how they have navigated their life, that is the challenge of being a counselor over there. Many of them have depressive thoughts, even suicidal thoughts. Some of them have tremendous anger towards their care, meaning the next generation with whom they are sitting. So it is as a counselor, I feel there is a lot for us to look at and address many of these areas with them. Many a times by medical issues, biological issues are addressed, but psychological issues remain in the back burner, and that's the focus.
So, Anu, I wanted to ask you, what are the intrapsychic conflicts at this age that you feel people are facing?
So, I see a lot of breakdown that's happening, right? There is a breakdown of body that one sees. There's a breakdown of just the role structure that I see. I see a lot of anxiety and depression which is emanating from that. Like, what is the point of living? What is it that how am I supposed to structure my time? What do I do with it? What can I do that can feel meaningful for me? Right? So I see a lot of those kind of questions. It's almost like, a dot, and it doesn't lead to anything else.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of questions, but there's perhaps not enough of a container also that these people have to even explore those questions, which is what I'm seeing and which is what I end up doing in my.
Yeah, and I feel like with what Bharti was saying, right, a lot of times the conditioning and the reality is not always really coming together so well, which is why there's so much confusion sometimes. With the younger with the, like you were saying, in terms of yourself, you go out and you do so many things on your own, and it's so important to have people around your own age who can understand what you're going through. But there are so many older people who I've been meeting who I feel in some ways they just feel like, okay, I've done everything now, and now it's time for the younger generation to sit and do things for me, or they need to hang out with me, or so there's a lot of that also that happens because we have done it for the older generations when we were younger. We sacrificed things, or we took out time for them, or this is how it should be that. So the onus of growing old then becomes whatever the taking care of everything gets kind of. The responsibility is shifted to the younger members of the family, and a lot of times they don't want to take on that responsibility either. So,
but they want to definitely say what they should do.
Yeah.
Like a classic example is about protein.
Yeah.
How many people have heard? I have heard so many of the older folks saying, why is it that these people are constantly talking about protein cow, protein cow, protein cow? Right?
Yeah.
And it's like as if people before us knew all this protein stuff, and we've lived life a certain way. Why should we be eating protein like this? So, that's
true.
all over the place.
Yeah, younger people are just coming and changing the kitchen totally, which is not what they want to be eating at all. And at that stage where, at some level you've lived your entire life eating what you like, and also now is the time where you should be able to eat what you want to some degree.
I think there is merit in the protein conversation.
Okay.
But I'm also going to say, I think the manner in which it is happening is something that is leading to a lot of breakdown.
The schooling.
It's very dysfunctional.
No, the schooling, where they feel that now they're being told things.
That's right.
And not being, almost as if not being treated as adults at all. So maybe that's why the teenager. Yeah.
So somewhere, see, this population does feel sunken cost. In a sense, what is their contribution to this life? Or what is their contribution to their family? And therefore, they overdo sometimes, they overcompensate by doing more than what they need to do for other people. And that is never enough, like what they do for the next generation or in the family for their grandchildren or children. Sometimes they overpay for financially. Yeah. They do gifting, too much of gifting sometimes that they do. And out of all these interactions, there are expectations. And there are a lot of unmet expectations. And they're causing them serious depressive tendencies. Their anger is escalated at times when there's this one lady who comes and talks and she says, I do so much for them. And what do I get in return? And therefore she's very depressed. She said, what's the point? How much ever I do, it's not, I still have no value in this. What's my value in this family? Why should I live? Is how she questions. Also a level of anxiety one can see.
Yeah.
That there is always a feeling that I'll be left alone, or I'll be pushed into some home, or there won't be anybody who will really take care because these people are always busy with their life.
Yeah.
And that there's a state of anxiety of how much about old age and illnesses are pasted everywhere in WhatsApp University and Instagram, that they are scared that what if I am ill, what if I fall down, so it's creating unnecessary tension around the aging.
Yeah.
So this topic needs to be discussed by professionals who understand what is aging, who come together and talk about it, whereas a lot of people unfortunately put their own stories in some sad form or as a tragedy or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So what you're saying in some ways is setting boundaries is important to understand your space and their space in some ways. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And I must say, I must bring COVID over here because COVID really brought out a lot of shift changes. We have changed for good also. There was the seniors had to learn all the technological gadgets. They got open. Like I remember this woman, she came and she, very older lady, and she was telling me that teach me how to use mobile. I have now the smart mobile, but I'm scared, and nobody has time. Everybody makes me just changes everything, and so one whole session we sat and we were just seeing advantages of mobile, and that's good in a way. They are now very close to every advantage. I mean, I'm saying they, but actually I belong to that space. We all became close to technology, and that was a good thing which COVID did. But while they were going through COVID, I remember I've spoken with old. I'm saying because I'm saying the seniors. I spoke with them on calls saying how they were scared or how they were angry that they were not allowed to meet anybody. And those were the times when I realized that yes, we are entering into an era where we have to prepare ourselves for this age.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. And there is a lot of anger and frustration because at some point people are not ready to be in this space also.
It's going to continue because at that time it was just getting more and more acquainted with technology. Now it's AI. So
Yeah.
it's here. Technology is always going to be faster than
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess the younger ones are blessed in that sense that they have the.
I mean, at least Instagram is not throwing out algorithms saying, let's teach 13 and 15 or 18-year-olds how to use AI. It's always 40, 50, 60, right? Whatever age group you are in, that's what it's throwing out because that's the group that they want to target.
But I think the point is that when you have the world, when you have technology that's constantly racing ahead,
Yeah.
right? And you feel like you're lagging behind.
Yeah.
It creates something inside you. It creates a certain sense of anxiety. It creates a question of relevance.
Relevance, yeah.
Isn't it?
Relevance is actually a very interesting thing in general, how we feel about how relevant we are, and times have been changing very fast.
So more as if families come together, understanding what is aging, how to integrate it, how to really, the word relevance resonated so beautifully. Anu brought it out.
Yeah.
Because I feel everybody wants to be relevant, whatever age you are, and however how little contribution you may do to the world. It's an important word, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also there's something that's gotten it started off in my head also about relevance, relevance in current times, relevance for us even as time seems to be slowing down, right? Where will I find a sense of relevance? Relevance, I think, is where there is a sense of mirroring, or there is a sense of need, there is a sense of togetherness, right? So
yeah, and what happens? you feel relevant if you contribute to everybody else's life, or you fulfill certain needs which are there for the other people, and the others fulfill your needs also, you know. So like like for example, I have a need to socialize a lot also, so I have to have my friend circle, I have to meet them here and there, my sisters, my age people. And many a times when in the family, you know, a person is locked, and sometimes the spouses are not there, a single like the lady or a single man, they struggle through that, because then there is nobody else with whom you can go. You know, all those social get-togethers, you are not able to go, or you are stuck, or you go into the social get-togethers where your children's age people are there. You don't feel relevant there.
You don't know the songs.
You don't know the songs. Yes, that's the biggest thing.
You can't. You absolutely cannot relate to the way the dance is happening over there.
Music is so important when you get together. Yeah, that's one important thing.
There's so much, no, that like when you share a song, even with the client, when you share a song and it doesn't land, they have that question mark on their face, or you make a movie reference sometimes and
TV
they don't
show,
get
they
it,
don't
and
know.
there's a very quick, you know, there's a very quick feedback that happens within that, saying, oops, you know, this was
Not
a little,
this
is from the last century.
And beating, like there were certain couples, age say 60 plus, 60, 63, 66, I was talking with, and then they were saying that we have to cope with relationship around us, which are my children and my grandchildren.
So one of the things that one sees is also about power dynamics and how they shift, right? So very classical case at the workplace, it's about now who takes decisions, right? Let's say it's a regular family setup, then father has to phase out, and you know, possibly whoever is the next generation needs to come in. Very significantly in the house, right? There used to be this whole thing of Juda, you know, it's so symbolic, keys. There's that gucha of keys which gets handed over, because it's actually symbolic of control over resources, you know, taking decisions within the
grains,
home.
the house,
the
grahasti.
Correct. But control is not easy to give up.
Not
right. Because it's just not easy at all.
Yeah, meaning in a sense, it is well said that, okay, you just hand over the keys of your, whatever, keys of the house to the bahu. But I have had several examples where the daughter-in-law will say that the mother-in-law is not relenting the control over the kitchen. She won't let me take charge. She's still controlling how much atta to be given, how much dal to be given. I know somebody who is so paranoid that she keeps everything in lock and key, doesn't give this. And there is definitely a mental illness over there, because then obsession of this is my kitchen has taken over the lady. And not just a kitchen situation. I know somebody who, meaning the man was running the business for such a long period of time, but the father won't relent it. He made it from small to big, and somewhere hoping that the father will now say, okay, now you look after the finances also. So he was only kept for operations and marketing. The finance control was still with the 70, 80-year-old father, and he said that it's sad that how much ever I giving him the importance, how much ever I do for him, he doesn't relent his control. But the fact was that the father's identity, that this is all I have and this is all is my identity, was locking him into the holding some portfolio strongly in his hand.
It's again the relevance that we say, right? If I have this, if I have the power with the money, then I have the relevance and the reason for you to listen. You may not listen to me if I don't have the power. So it's a fear in some ways also, that you want to not give up the gucha or the keys or get the fruit from the specific fruit man or whatever it is that you've done. Why should you deal with change? But then there's also another part where I was talking to this new mother-in-law of she has 2 sons and 2 daughter-in-laws now, and she's saying life is very different in my household now, where I have these two new girls, and all I want to do, I've told my husband, all I want to do is travel. They can do whatever they want to, and I just want to travel. I don't want to get into this everyday thing of what and how, and let them do it. So there is that coming up in some ways as well, the idea that, you know, I'm also young and I don't want to be sitting and being this, you know, person who has to take care of everybody else in the household.
These are the kind of cases which we keep getting, where, you know, you have a control issue. No, you don't want to relent the control. And as you rightly said, the relevance is there as long as you control money or something strong in life. So those are the things which we get very commonly. We have people who are not adjusted to various life experiences, new experiences, new marriages. New marriage has happened in the family, and the mother-in-law is suffering with the daughter-in-law's control over the system. All kinds of things do come, and they want to come and talk about it, and that is very happy feeling for a counselor that age group is coming.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. But between us, the couple, there are many needs which are coming up and which are dissatisfied, and that causing frustration. You have great divorces now coming in.
Yes.
People who want to separate or live separately divorce each other at the 60 plus age.
Yeah. Many.
And their needs are coming up. Like this couple was saying, like, my sexual needs are not met. You feel as if plus 60 you don't have any need left.
You must just
close, shut shop and retire. Because it's the, you know, the time that you're sitting and praying and doing all those other things. You're not supposed to be indulgent. That's another thing. Bhagwan ka naam lo or whatever. But that is
stop
something.
Being human, basically. Right?
So only reference I got with in the, you know, the TV serials of Hollywood. India, in Indian TV series, we don't have any reference of this kind.
Maybe Chini Kam is a good movie that way with Amitabh Bachchan.
But what a path-breaking film, right?
Absolutely. Because where there's Paresh Rawal, who's totally against this whole thing, and then Amitabh Bachchan is out there dating. And
the son-in-law is older than the father-in-law, right? That was that I recollect. But in Grace and
Frankie,
there is a lot of reference of how they want to look good, they want to look smart. There is a sexual life, there's partnerships, they're wanting to still look for spouses or partners in life.
I actually love it because, you know, there is the idea of loneliness, and loneliness is real. Loneliness is real at all age, but especially at that age, and how this particular show is trying to defy that. These women are making choices where they're not absolutely willing to accept that, you know, that loneliness is just part of my fate. Aging and loneliness is just part of my fate. So
because
I think that's why we like it so much.
Because it is hard to go out there at 60 and make new friends also, right? It's a tough space to go to. I mean, they're not like, you know, in the other stages of life, they're coming at you naturally. Here you have to make that effort a little bit more.
It is true, but I still hold that with a little bit of a question, because I have many clients who come and say, at this age, how is it, you know, now we can't make friends. And I also like to challenge that a little bit.
I think so. I think
because if there's life, there is possibility.
100%.
So I remember there was this case where So she came to question that is it a right thing that I'm doing. So she lost her husband, and then there was a phase of difficult time, and she was with her children, her son only most of the time, but she had a lot of zest and she was a very vibrant woman. And then she said, you know, I want to have my own space. So she created her own space in the similar city. She stayed, and then she had gone for some on one tour, like single people tour or some tour.
Yeah.
And she met somebody over there who was also
Amazing.
single.
Nice.
And he was in other city. So they started talking, and then he proposed to her. And she was 70 plus.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know how to talk, how to open this up. And I was so happy for her, but she was having panic attack. She was anxious. She was feeling nervous. So see how limited our thinking sometimes become because of the pressure of environment, pressure of culture.
It's true. One should be shamed. There's so much of shame around
Yeah,
it.
shame. So she said, when I don't know how my son is going to react. I think my daughter might accept most likely. My son might not like because what about my daughter-in-law? She will not. She will react. She will say that this is going to be a bad thing.
Because our conditioning is not such that we should be self-indulgent in any way, right? The guilt comes in.
Yeah.
The idea of, oh, I'm thinking about myself, what would the rest of the people think, what would the society think, all of that comes in. And you're not, even at this stage, even at 60 plus, when you're supposed to be at least at that point trying to like, say,
Live your
can
life
live for
fully.
ourselves.
But you know, I have a feeling that this is a very female thing, right? Because I was
Men,
just reminded
yes.
how बुढ़ी घोड़ी लाल लगाम होता है. कोई बोलता नहीं है कि बुढ़ा घोड़ा और लाल लगाम, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Think
But
about
at the
that.
same time, with this grey divorces that we talked about, I feel a lot of the women, you know, the emancipation comes in at this point and they're like, no more. I was recently speaking to a woman who said, yes, I need to take care, but I've taken care of people my whole life. What about me?
Yeah.
And that really is the question, what about me? So going out there, doing something then at that point is not a bad idea.
I love the fact that people are making that choice, right? There is autonomy there.
Yes.
There is just an unwillingness to say, I'm going to be okay with this. Let me at least make an attempt towards my happiness.
Yeah.
Or freedom, whatever it feels, you know, the idea of thwarting or saying no to just years and years and years of what feels like emotional abandonment, which feels like distance, that you've got to be okay with just this much, right?
Yeah.
The woman gives.
Yeah.
What does she receive also?
But also the whole thing about permission, right? In our society, we've always been looking to the older generation for that permission, or looking now to sometimes the younger generation at this point. So the idea that, okay, I can make this decision, I can decide to marry again, go look at another romance, not marry and be in a relationship, be in a live-in relationship, because a lot of people don't want to then get tied down with another person's family and all of that. They just want to go out and have some fun. So then the whole question of getting remarried becomes more tying
Yay
down.
for autonomy.
Yay for autonomy. Yeah.
Well, what I feel is that for every single stage of development, see, the life, as the life force is, we will have needs.
Yes.
We will have, something which gives us joy in every life. So when a child is 5-year-old, his needs and his joys are different. But when you are 60 plus, your needs are different, but not so different from when you were 40 years old or 50-year-old.
Yeah.
They aren't that different.
Yeah.
They may slow down. You may want to eat same kind of food, or you want to sleep early. But it doesn't mean that you don't want to have fun and joy of life.
Absolutely.
Many a times by tying down to the old roles, we take away the joy of life, no? Or dissatisfaction of various needs lead to frustration and depression. Like, what's the point? If my needs are not met, why should I live? And therefore, so many of them speak about how do I want to, I don't have any purpose. Now I've done everything in life. There's nothing more to do in my life. And that is something as counselor is our challenge to say, I think as long as we breathe and as long as we have the, movement inside, the eros is there.
Yeah.
The energy, the life energy, the instinct of running into our life is there. But thanatos is coming.
Yes.
The death energy is coming inside us as we grow closer to aging process, because the body starts, the death energy does work on our body, but still the joy of life remains in spite of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It just have
I
to
think we
keep
have
on
to
going.
make all the efforts to look for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. It's there,
Yeah.
but it's just that it presents itself like in a haze, that, it's behind, you have to cut through the fog.
And you have to make these decisions for yourself and say, no, I want to. Because even with depression and with other, with frustration and anger, it spreads in the family. If one person has it, that's the energy
If
you're
one
giving
person
out.
is depressed, you're bang on. Like everybody feels that.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Or one person is panicking and anxious, the whole family is feeling that tremors of that. So it's important that as a family, one looks at this aging and aging process, and what do we have to do, how do we accommodate this new change in the family. All that is an important thing.
Yeah.
And power dynamics are going to come. Power dynamics are going to shift. That is just part of the process. That's just there.
Yeah, 100%.
So a lot of family therapy is what would be a good idea, you think?
Yes,
Bharti?
yes. Integrating a senior an aging process, it needs to be taken as a family therapeutical process.
Yeah.
And many a times we just feel that one should just slide from one developmental stage to the other development, apne aap. And sometimes it is not happening. It requires the effort of everybody.
Yeah. Otherwise, the people feel redundant and just.
So we're also saying that no fading into the light just like that.
They are not able to adjust with changes, and they want to verbalize it. And our job is to listen and let them verbalize about it.
I'm just wondering if this is also a connection issue, Bharti. Do you think it is that as well?
Explain what.
In the sense that, let's say, an older person just letting go completely and saying, now you look after, or not wanting to let go. In both cases, I was just reflecting on this, that there's possibly just a difficulty in connecting with the other.
Yeah, there's conversations which can help. Like, why am I giving you this handing over, or why am I holding it? Those conversations don't happen. And many of the families suffer lack of conversations. And that's where the family therapists, I mean, we have had, like, I'm having conversations with daughters and their mother. She's aging and older, and she still wants to live her life fully, and they are not appreciating at times, and they are not proud about that she's living her life, and they say, now you should not be doing all this, you should relax, now you're old, don't do all this. So but the moment we started conversations, I found that it took us a time, 2-3 sessions. The initial sessions were very hard and difficult, but now they are willing to look at their different personalities and different way of looking at life, solving problems, generation gap, all that is coming out, and it's going quite well. So I feel family sessions are important.
Yeah.
I guess we are all holding on to our own traumas of before as well. So people coming in now for counseling at age 60 plus, the insecurities, the life lessons, the traumas they've been through also do, I guess, have impact, right? So even unleashing that, going back into their past and sort of figuring that out and where they're coming from, that could be also something that you must be doing a lot of, Bharti.
Yeah. It's psychotherapeutical journey is to look at how our patterns are. What is my baggage which is not resolved in past, and I'm not carrying it in my new like a stage of development. That is important. And so apart from that, psychoeducational activities for this age group is what we have come up with. So multiple approaches, like individual's approach to this, family approach, psychoeducational approach will help us tackle this age group and the mental illness for this particular age group.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we've been saying, there's so much of life still to live through. Yeah. As we come to the end of today's episode, I think what I've taken away is that being a teenager, and I do love that word, teenager, may change the shape of your life. Fresh strands of grey are not just on your head, they're woven into your story, and that continues on. Those pages are still turning, there are still chapters to be written, moments to be lived, relationships to be nurtured, and wisdom to be shared. The story of your life continues on. Thank you, Bharti, and thank you, Anu, for being with us today. And thank you to everyone who's been listening. Join us next time as we continue exploring the fourth dimension and turn our attention to a subject that's rarely discussed with openness, the death instinct, and why it has often become more prominent after the age of 75. Until then, treat yourself with kindness.